I wanted to get your permission, if it would be okay if I start and I had a conversation with you as opposed to standing. Is that okay? Is that all right? Yeah. I know Charlie spoke. Is that the consensus there? Charlie? Yeah. Great. First of all, again, let me say good morning. You guys have been recognized, certainly in the Bahamas, of having the best club assembly. And actually, most of the clubs are using your framework to model their own club assembly. So I want to congratulate you on that and continue the good work. I didn't know it was this spirited, but I'm sure I can see now why you get good results at the end of it, because it's quite involved. And it's good, because the club assembly is really about persons speaking to the issues at hand for the club, and you deal with everything in here, and when you get out, there's a consensus and everybody's on the same page. So I think it's good to have that type of an engagement. I had the opportunity to be invited by the President to speak to you on the Club Leadership Plan. And I think the President may have wanted to discuss this more in terms of what it speaks to your new framework that is being recommended. But the Club Leadership Plan in and of itself is actually much more exhaustive than that. It is really an intent by Rotary to normalize the practices of the clubs in such a way that we can make more effective clubs and be able, of course, to sustain the 4 avenues of service. So with the new plan that is being crafted, it doesn't take away from the 4 avenues of service that we've always been doing in Rotary. It's actually being developed to help you encourage it. So I'm going to actually go through the 9 points of the Club Leadership Plan and probably just get an idea from you, because I suspect that some of these you're already engaged in. The first part of the plan speaks to all of the clubs putting together a 3-year long-term plan. And what that speaks to, of course, is to get continuance of the various projects you engage in, but more importantly, that it's like when we see the FNM take over from the PLP. You stop what was happening by the former administration and you start your own. The idea is to move away from that type of leadership, so that there's a consistency, there's an agreement from the framework over the next 3 years, 5 years, here's what we're going to be doing, and the president-elect, the presidential nominee, or whoever are part of those boards throughout the continuance will continue those projects and ensure you see them to their success. So that's going to be extremely important that you have that. Let me throw that out there. Is there a 3-year plan for your club? Okay, so there's an opportunity that we talk about the club leadership plan for that framework. The other part, I know for a fact you're doing it, which is the planning guide for effective clubs. All of your presidents have had to have that document prepared. It's actually a document that speaks to the year for the president. Most of the club, if not certainly the board members, would help to put that document together. And in that will be some of the things that you want to accomplish that year. So your membership growth, some of the projects you want to accomplish, some of the issues you're experiencing in your club. That document is calculated every year. It has to be handed to the district governor prior to the beginning of the year. And at district conference, what we seek to do is we have a meeting with the president, with the district governor and the assistant governor to go over your planning guide so that it's clear understanding of some of the things that you want to accomplish and any challenges, so that the district governor, assistant governor can see where they can be of support. So that's one that you do without question. You guys are well off, because the third one speaks to club assemblies. I can tell you we probably may only have 2 clubs, 3, that engage in club assemblies on an annual basis. And so a significant amount of our clubs are not engaging in club assemblies. We want to work with them this year to get them to have club assemblies. And some are doing it in the incorrect way. What they're doing it is in the form of a presentation, where it has to be an interaction. So it's not just you presenting information. It has to be a discussion of the information, make sure that there's clarity on the information. So it's not the top-down approach, it's much more, of course, an interactive and involved approach. Question?
Just informational. Is it required by the Rotary Constitution to have an assembly? Yeah. And if not, are they not in contravention of the Constitution?
They are in contravention. Those are club forums and club assemblies. They are. It is the silent rule of Rotary that they don't necessarily push on, but the clubs are supposed to engage in an assembly and a club forum. The club forum should begin at the beginning, usually the beginning of your year, where the directors will come and present the plans for the year. The club assembly then becomes almost a year in review, or mid-year in review, or quarterly year in review, where you discuss where we are now. what you're doing right now. So again, it's one of the weaknesses that we have to work on. It is also a requirement for us to have an inter-club assembly. And we tried to do that last year. It didn't come off as well as we liked it. It turned out to be an inter-club fellowship, which was still good. But just like how you're going through these numbers as well, is where we're supposed to be at the assistant governor level, presenting the treasurer's report to you, so you know what's happening, which clubs are outstanding, which clubs have not paid their dues, what issues we're experiencing with our 9 clubs. So that has to happen as well, and that will be scheduled, and then information will be passed on.
No, the reason I ask that again is it is prudent to share information with the members. I've seen in other organizations serious problems result. And again, this is Rotary, but serious issues can come about and in terms of the financial statements as well. Where's the accountability? If the treasurer is not reporting financial information, who is checking that information if there's no assembly?
I'll tell you what the unwritten rule again in Rotary is. There's a lot of respect and a lot of authority that's given to the Board of Directors. And operating certainly under the 4-way test, we give certain allowances. Now, I'm not saying that that should be acceptable, and you guys have an audited statement, which is a great way to work to move it. We've actually been working to try to get the treasurer, the position of the treasurer, to be a much more substantial role in the district. Because one of the things with the many conferences that I've attended, Brendan and a number of folks would know, that we've never really escalated the role of the treasurer to be that as of importance as the secretary and the president. And because of, I think more and more nowadays, financial responsibility and accountability is very important in NGOs and other organizations, worse than financial companies. So it is going to be a focus for Rotary more, and you're also seeing that the treasurer role is something that we're addressing now at district conference for training. We will be moving to the point where we talk about an audited process, but we haven't gotten there yet. Okay? So the club assemblies, again, we talked about. How would you gauge, as members sitting here, in terms of the flow of information and communication in your club from the leaders of the club throughout the members and vice versa? Charlie? Sorry. How would you qualify, I would say, when you look at the flow of information between president to the members to the president, the club directors and so forth, how is the flow of communication in your club?
In our club, it's still good. They swarm you with emails and other things and so on. What know you and they it's fantastic.
Right. Now when you translate that one more step when you speak to the district level information coming from the district as well.
That's where all the clubs suffer.
That's the problem. There is a break there. Miscommunication, lack of communication, wrong communication. So that is something that we certainly have.
And that's the opportunity the Club Leadership Plan seeks to address, because that's actually most of the clubs, that's where the issue is.
Okay.
They know what their clubs are doing. I can tell you all the programs my club is doing, I can tell you all the things, when the projects are happening, and even the accountability. The problem is what's happening from the Rotary International level, from the district level, and how that information being translated or transferred to the clubs.
That is one of the problems that we face, and most of the club probably face that. If the president don't make it to the meeting, there's nobody at the meeting to represent the club. You know, we simply like the president-elect
to the president's council?
Yeah, the president-elect ought to be there if he's not there. And the president or whoever is representing the club at that meeting ought to come back and say to the club what is happening. And a lot of times we don't, or the clubs don't get the information, and then they see these bills that are levied and then they hit the ceiling. But you know, these things should be transparent. It should come down to the club. And the club know what's happening, and if they feel strongly against it, then they tell the president, you know, you need to vote against it. So let
me help Brendan with 2 points he's raised. He's raised 2 points. One is when there's a president's council, which is a monthly meeting. For your knowledge, it occurs on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. This is the meeting of all the presidents, along with the assistant governor, to go over the various issues and opportunities. More than 5 years ago, we had a serious challenge where presidents would have their budget. I thought this was going back to Harry's time as well, where at the beginning of the year, your club does your budget. And the president comes to a meeting, and some new opportunity comes up. He is expected to make a decision at that point because we believe that you've given the authority to make decisions. But in your opinion, that's information that should come back to your club for decision making before he spends any additional funds. That was a major issue. The clubs have indicated that was a major issue. We've changed that. We've changed that totally, so that should not be an issue, and I'll tell you why. What we've done now is we've expensed for projects, or joint opportunities at the beginning of the year. That money's already been taken out.
Yeah.
That's already been expensed to you. There's no reason why we as Rotary Clubs or the Rotary Clubs of the Bahamas have to come back to the club for additional funds. So there's nothing else for you to ratify in a sense, or to expense. So that information, the only thing that now needs to pass on to you, because what happens at the joint level is where the president decides on a project.
Yeah.
Now, when that decision is being made, I think it's very important and incumbent upon the president to share that information. So that, and I'm talking from inception, not just at the end when the decision is made, but here are some of the things that we're considering right now, so that if you have a view and an opinion, that information can come back to the group that is making the decision. I will say to you, as I segue, that the main focus is going to be for us to really work on crime and violence in our society.